Hello, welcome to the PACT studio. My name is Liz Manette and I'm an administrative assistant here at PACT. And in our studio today we are lucky enough to have Jim Ojala, a special effects person and filmmaker based out of, I believe, Los Angeles, California now, but originally from Duluth.
Yep, so, that is correct. Thanks for having me, Liz.
You're welcome. What brings you back to Duluth at this time?
Well, this time around, we are back location scouting and doing interviews for my first feature film, Strange Nature, which is an eco-thriller that I want to bring back to Duluth to shoot.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, so you're based out of LA now. You started in Duluth at Public Access Television doing a special effects show, My Three Scums. And can you give us a little bit of background history leading up to filming Strange Nature? You started at PACT, and what led you to LA?
Well, I was, after high school, I kind of started playing around with PACT, joined the public access station here, and got the hang of the equipment, and with my co-creators, Derek Brunn, Jeremy Davey, and Marty Johnson, all Duluth locals, we created the show My Three Scums, which is an over-the-top horror comedy, and through that show and getting the reaction from the Duluth audience, I realized how much I loved it. And when you see, we played at the North Shore at the really independent film festival, and to have a whole audience love what you do is just, there's no greater feeling. And it was like, that's when I knew I had to do this for a living somehow, So I was working at the Duluth Clinic at the time, filing medical record charts, and I sent out a giant computer box, like enormous, to a company, Troma, in New York, who makes kind of over-the-top horror comedies like, Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High, and I thought that they would be, maybe interested. So in that box, I put a copy of our My Three Scums, like the best episode that we had done at that point, a bunch of flyers, and there's all this room left, so we filled the rest of the room up with helium balloons that said, like, I love My Three Scums all over it, and just sent it to the president of the company. Who knows, He gets it, boom, opens it, balloons fly everywhere, it's eye-catching. So a month later, I get a letter from the president of the production company saying, you're a really talented filmmaker, thank you for the box, the balloons, everything. If you're ever in Hell's Kitchen, New York, come by and we'd love to meet with you.
Wow, okay.
So I booked a flight out there, hit it off with them, and they invited me to intern on their next film that was shooting in New York. Okay. So packed up everything in Duluth and moved out there. And started out just trying to do product placement for them, scoring them free toilet paper and kind of boring stuff. Second day, they have an opening in the makeup effects department. So I'm like, I'd already kind of dabbled with that in Duluth. So joined the makeup effects department on the film and picked it up really quick. And before the film was even done, they offered me a full-time assisting position. So it was like, well, I love doing this. It's really fun. It's really creative, and it's a way to stay in the film industry and kind of carve out a niche while you're pursuing your filmmaking. And then and that's been my career ever since. And then in 2001, after 9/11, all the work died in New York. So then we had to move to LA and try our hand there. And it's been a really good career move for me.
Wow, cool. And then you continued your film work and career out in LA and everything, working for the film industry, special effects and everything like that.
Yep. We got right in on. When I first got to LA, we worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, and on up to Hellboy 2 and Where the Wild Things Are. A lot of big studio movies, and then in the meantime, I used any of the money I was making from special effects to finance a lot of my short films and music videos that I did for that I shot in Los Angeles. So I've done a bunch of shorts now. Some have been distributed, played at film festivals, and now it's time to make that jump to feature film.
Strange Nature. What was the impetus behind the idea of it and bringing the film to Duluth?
Well, the idea stuck with me since like 1995 when I was still in high school here. Just seeing it on the front page of the newspapers, and it was on Nightline, and it was like, wow, this is a really bizarre thing, and the fact that they don't know it's just something on the water. And well, when it came time to thinking up, like, what can I make my first feature, I knew I had to try to merge those worlds of makeup and creature effects, which is my career, into the film, because then that's something I can bring to the table. Whereas, you know, so I'm not just a guy with a script, which makes it even harder to get a film made. At least I could bring those skills in. So I thought that the deformed frog issue would be really interesting to explore, especially when I realized that it hadn't been solved yet.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, well, and then I looked further and like nobody's made a film about this. Nobody's even made a documentary about this.
Okay.
So, and this is like a real world phenomenon that's unsolved. So I was like, well, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy to expose this for the first time. And what better place than to bring it back to Minnesota? Because even though I've shot tons in California and other places, this is still my base, so this is where I feel the most comfortable shooting. Just because, like, I know, you know, you get a lot of community support here. Nobody tries to bleed you for money, and it's just a more relaxed atmosphere to find locations and to shoot.
What has that process been like, doing your first feature film from conception to bringing it to Minnesota, locations and everything like that? What's that experience been like?
It's been incredibly difficult.
Okay.
It's making an independent film these days is really, really hard.
Okay.
The market has gotten overblown with a lot of garbage, and it's really hard to get your film out there and to get financed independently. And one of the other issues I've run into repeatedly is there's been a lot of interest from producers and stuff like that in LA, but a lot of people don't think that you can make a movie back here. Like they think like, oh well, if you know, they don't have that much of an incentive, or we're going to have to bring in crew from Chicago or whatever, or cast. And it was like, no, like I know, I'm from here, and I know that there's talent here that we can mine. And so that's a big reason I've had to do this on my own, because I don't want to shoot in Northern California and make it look like Minnesota or Louisiana or Bulgaria or some of the other kind of asinine locations that have been suggested. So
I like films like North Country and Older Than America, which were filmed here, have been very successful in their promotion and production and everything like that. And just using, you know, organic or organic locales such as Minnesota. It's about Minnesota. I'm going to shoot in Minnesota. People watching it are like, well, of course, you know, the incident happened in Minnesota. I think filming here would be, you know, true to its nature and everything, strange nature.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. And the thing is, too, I really want to capture how this area looks, like at the peak of fall, when you get those fall colors, because that's one big thing I think a lot of films that have shot here have kind of missed, at least the ones that have gotten more attention. Because it's like you either see movies that are shot in Minnesota that are either like dead of winter and it's miserable, or it's the dead of fall and everything's dead and drab and ugly, and it's like that seems too obvious to me. Like I'm already making a film about ugly things and ugly circumstances, so I think it's a lot more interesting to offset that by showing the beauty of the Minnesota fall colors and let that be the set piece. And then I think it makes the content a lot more interesting. I agree. It's a very interesting point. I wouldn't have thought of that. The subject matter is so, if grotesque, if you will, and serious and everything, you know, and then but offsetting it with the natural beauty of the area and stuff like that. Because I think then having that kind of backdrop of that beauty then almost maybe subconsciously suggests hope too. You know, even though we're in this kind of dangerous situation in the film, maybe that kind of is like a halo of hope for the situation in general. Are you going to be filming in this area? If so, are you going to be looking for local talent? I guess I would start out, what's the storyline behind Strange Nature, timeline, ideas for filming here? Okay. It's basically about a single mother that was like a top 20s pop star that had like a one-hit wonder kind of thing, and she comes back from the big city to come back. She's a single mother, has like an 11-year-old son, comes back to Minnesota kind of to regroup because doesn't know where else to go in her life, and she needs to kind of put her life back together with her child, and they kind of stay on the outskirts of an area like Duluth in more of a backwoods home with her estranged father while they try to kind of put their family situation back together. And in the midst of their kind of internal drama, that's when all of these external wildlife deformities start happening, and we don't see where it's going to lead, you know. And because the thing is, like in real life where, you know, I think there was a big kind of point of view where, well, it's a bunch of frogs, you know, who cares? It doesn't affect us. Well, and I think that's a big problem in just in general in life, is that a lot lot of issues don't get attention unless they affect people on a personal level.
Yeah.
So at what point does it need to affect you? Is it your family pets being affected by whatever is causing this to frogs, or on up to more dangerous animals in the wilderness of the Midwest, like we just saw with the wolf attack in Bemidji?
Yeah, yeah.
That was a deformed wolf, and the crazy thing about just the timing, like we deal with that exact thing in the film as well.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's something to point to. That it's like, look, that can happen.
Yeah,
You know,
wow.
given a certain circumstance, and then on up to, could this affect human beings? And if it did, would it be too late? Like you had with the thalidomide babies of the 70s. You know?
So kind of like the strange nature coming from the woods, could it infiltrate the people living there?
Into a bigger thing.
Into
Exactly.
a bigger thing,
Right,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay. Right up your alley with the work that you're doing with all the films you've worked on as far as special effects and everything like that.
Yeah, and you can check out the strangeNatureMovie.com website, and you can see a lot of samples of some of the effects that have already been done for the film.
So that's strangeNatureMovie.com.
Yep.
Okay, okay. You know, myself, you piqued my interest with the whole storyline and everything like that. That's a film I would go see, definitely.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like I couldn't get behind a film that I didn't want to see myself too. You know?
I would think it would be hard. Any artist, you just can't. You know, a real artist, you can't get behind something that you don't believe in.
Right, totally.
Yeah,
I'm very reassured that this film will not, once it gets made, it will not get buried.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
it will be seen. I
Yeah.
mean, just we have publicity potential already just because it's the first film to expose the deformed frog phenomenon.
You think of movies like the Hunger Games, just the kind of the sci-fi fantasy, the strange nature type films, if you
Right.
will, and everything. I think that really piques people's interest now. It's a real hot topic right now, and it's an actual thing
And
that
it's not going to be just an environmental history lesson. It's also going to be like a really entertaining film,
Cool,
but
yeah,
it's going to be
yeah.
something that matters.
Yes,
you know?
exactly,
So,
yeah.
and the thing is too, like, there's a lot of people that are just as audience participation goes. A lot of people are really fed up with bad CG. As far as effects go,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
because of my
yeah.
background, because of all the talented people I'm able to pull in, there's going to be pretty much 100% all practical effects. So we're talking real effects,
Cool.
puppets. I mean, the real deal that it's not going to look like a bad video game. It's
Yeah.
going to look amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, like you say, the real deal. You've been working in that industry for years, and it's like you know what works, you know what doesn't. and
Exactly,
everything like
exactly.
that. What advice for beginning filmmakers, you know, would you give, you know, to them as far as if they're wanting to get started in the industry? So.
Well, for one thing, you should start shooting your own stuff as much as possible, because like when we started out at PACT, we were making just awful stuff, like awful, like you look back, like I want to hide under a rock. It's so unwatchable,
Yeah.
But I got so addicted to the process.
Yeah.
We were shooting every single weekend. We would write during the week at our desk job, and then the weekend we would like live out our dreams and
Yeah.
shoot whatever we had just written. And as time progresses, you get a lot better.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
nobody can teach you that. No film school can teach you that.
Yeah.
You just need to get in there and start telling stories
Yeah.
on camera and start to find out what works and what doesn't work. Show it to as many people as possible. You know, ask for feedback, ask them to tell you what sucks and what could be better, and then and then try to get into film festivals and stuff like that
Sure,
once your
yeah.
stuff gets better. And aside from that, film internships are a huge way to go.
Okay,
Like,
are they?
you know, a
Okay,
lot of people
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know they exist, but
all
you
right.
look for, especially independent films, they're more willing to bring in somebody unknown just on an internship basis. And just like me, like it's really tough that first one, you know. I mean, we're working 20-hour days on average and just living in horrible conditions, but when it's your first one, you love it. And it's
Yeah,
like if
right.
you can make it through,
Yeah.
then you can kind of do anything. So, and you'll meet all the contacts. If you do a good job and you really want to learn and you work hard, you're going to meet everybody you probably need to know to make it to the next step on that first film. So even if it's a little local feature, maybe out of the cities or that's shooting up here.
yeah,
I mean, if
yeah.
like something like Strange Nature was shooting when I was here as a teenager or whatever, I mean, I would have flipped out.
Cameras not being as expensive as they were, even taking out a little camera and just
Totally.
filming.
I mean,
It's
people are making feature films with iPhones now.
Yeah.
I mean, no, in this
Really?
day and age,
Wow,
yeah.
cool.
In this day and age, nobody has any excuse not to be shooting.
Okay.
There's no excuse not to be filming now.
Okay. And I think, you know, what you said too is just go out and do it. And kind of like writing, it's like just write or just film. Don't think about it. Don't think, you know, just go out and do it, and then put yourself in that film festival like we were talking earlier. You know, just before, you know, you entered into some film festivals, just see what the reaction is.
Absolutely.
Love, hate, whatever.
Totally.
It's
I've
just
been
like,
loved
you know,
and I've been completely hated at film festivals, but it's all valuable feedback.
Right.
And doing things like joining PACT and putting yourself out there, make a show on PACT like we did, and make sure you have like a little website. You can get free websites now. Make a Facebook page and put your email out there so people can contact you and they can tell you if they love you or they hate you or if they have suggestions. And I mean, it's limitless how far you can grow that way.
Social media is so huge right now, and that's really the direction everything is going, from Twitter to Facebook to, you know, websites, whatever, and you can all combine it now. And
exactly.
I think what you said too is you know, getting into doing an internship and everything. Yes, you're going to do the grunt work. You're going to make the coffee, run to the copy center or whatever, but you're there and you're making contacts.
Right,
exactly. And I think if you're straight up and helping out and doing stuff like that, you're going to start meeting people and things will start happening.
That's the thing, because you're not, you know, unless you really bust your butt, you're not going to get sympathy from anybody, because all those people on that film set have done that too.
Yeah.
If you're serious about it, that's where you should go. And if you find out that, like, because I've dealt with some friends and stuff, and that have kind of gone through that process and realized, like, well, this is hard work. I don't love it that much. And it's like, if you don't, then you shouldn't be in it.
Exactly.
Because you're going to have a lot of hard times. You're going to be depressed a lot. You're going to there's a lot of down times.
Long days and down times.
And all of a sudden there might be months without a job. So it's like you have to love it so much to put up with that. You know. So, but if you do, it can really pay off.
Sure. That person that wants to intern or get some film experience, they can contact strangenaturethemovie.com on Facebook.
You can go to the website and find where to contact, or you can just email at info@strangenaturemovie.com.
Okay, just if they want some information, hey, I want to be an extra in the film, which is always cool.
The whole thing, and that's an important thing to point out, that we will be bringing in some talent from Los Angeles, but most of the cast will be cast locally.
Okay, wow.
So we're not talking about just extras. Like, people in Duluth will have an opportunity to audition for speaking roles, bigger roles, everything. So,
you've been working with Ricky McManus too of the Minnesota Film Board.
Yep. She's helping us find locations right now.
Nice,
we're looking up at Island Lake and Fish Lake and a lot of areas.
Okay.
So
very cool. All right. Again, strangenaturethemovie.com. You can find Strange Nature on Kickstarter. Well, thank you so much, Jim Ojala. It was a pleasure having you here, an honor. You know, you got started here and you came back to do this interview. We always love having you at PACT.
Great. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
All right. Cool.